Today, I'm going to show you guys how to sublimate a tumbler from start to finish. So I'm going to give you guys all of the information that you guys are going to need to get out there and start making your own sublimation tumblers, including walking you guys through how to use Canva for your sublimation business or your projects, if you will. So I'm actually going to combine two designs. I'm going to have a background layer as well as a design. So I'm going to show you guys how to combine something like that. So for the files, we are using these ones right here, and they are completely free. If you guys did not know, we actually have free resources for you guys as well. All you have to do is come where it says free designs, and you can choose free sublimation designs if that's what you're looking for, or simply choose free designs to choose through anything from SVGs, stuff for the Glowforge, and all of that. So this is one of our free little bundles here right now, and it is so stinking cute. We're going to use this design right here, and then we're going to combine that with these patterns right here. So I'm going to choose whichever one I think is going to work best. And once again, these are completely free. So I'm going to make a full wrap design. Now, if you didn't want a full wrap design, you can definitely just use the one and place it on here. And those designs are also perfect for t-shirts and all of those things. So we're going to go ahead and simply hit download free now. And then it's going to go ahead and send it straight to our computer just like that. We're going to go back to the other one and do the exact same. We're going to hit download free now. So all we have to do is head on over to Canva and upload these over there. All right, so now that we're over here in Canva, how do you bring your designs over here? So if you are new to Canva, you can do drag and drop. So simply grab those designs from your computer and just drop them in here. It is so easy. Or you can come to upload files, and then you're just gonna find your downloaded files. So right here for me, and I can change that from list to icon, so that way I can actually see which one I'm working with here. And so we're using this one, so I'm gonna click on it and click upload, and then I'm gonna do the same thing for the next one. All right, for this one, I'm trying to figure out what pattern I think is gonna work best, and I really think going with like the white with the stars or the white with like the holly berry or something like that is gonna be perfect. I already have pink in my design, so I don't really want pink on pink. So let's go ahead and start with this one here, and I'm gonna click upload. All right, so now that I have my designs uploaded, let's go ahead and size out our canvas. So this is an 8.5 by 11. So what I like to do is measure my tumbler so I can figure out how big I want this to be. You could definitely design on this and then trim it down, but to get it absolutely perfect, just get yourself a little ruler, and then you're just going to measure. So I'm gonna go ahead and measure all the way around. And I've got 9.5, so I'm gonna do 9.75. So always do about a quarter or a half inch up. And then I've got 8. So I'm gonna do 8.25 by 9.75. To do that, we're just gonna go to resize, and then we're gonna go ahead and put that in. For my width, we're gonna go ahead and do 9.75. You wanna do whatever is around your, so that way it's in this direction, if you will, is that horizontal. And then we're gonna go ahead and do 8.25, enter. So we're just gonna go ahead and hit resize. So this is going to put that perfect landscape for us and give us those exact dimensions. So when we go to print it out, it should fit this perfectly. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and start by bringing in our pattern. So I'm gonna start out with trying this one, and all you simply have to do is drag out your corners like so. Just stretch it all the way across your canvas. So once this is completely covered, we're gonna go ahead and bring in our design here. And I want this to be on the middle of my design. So with this, remember how much of this is wrapping around. So just depending on how much you want, I'm gonna bring mine in just a little bit. And when you go to center, you'll see those crossbars come up so you can get that perfect alignment. Now, one thing that I always pay attention to too is like these lines right here, you can actually bring these in. So that way I know whenever I'm working with my sizes and actually looking at it, because it's gonna size even that dead space. So I go ahead and take away all that dead space. So that way when I actually go to move this and you see that measurement down there, that little black bar, that's exactly how big this is. So if I wanted to really look at this and figure out where it's gonna wrap, I can do that. So we've got 4.8 wide. So I can go ahead and take that ruler again, and we can go ahead and test that out. So that's gonna be about almost 5 inches around. I think that's actually gonna be perfect. So let's go ahead and center this guy once again. To add an offset around your design, you're just gonna make sure it's selected, and then you're gonna come up here to edit image, and then you're gonna come to shadow. So you can say see all, so you can figure out what you want to do. I'm going to go ahead and add a glow here, and then I can go ahead and change that information here. So I've got a little bit of a black glow there, but if I'm wanting to, the white, obviously there's no white with sublimation, but if I want to have that offset around it and block everything out, I would change it white. And then I would change my transparency, so we can go ahead and see how we can see that there. So you guys can see whenever I move that bar around, and same thing with the blur. So I can really get rid of that blur. I can bring that in, or I can add a very hard offset. So hopefully you guys can see, if I zoom in here a little bit, you guys can see that offset. And then I can also size that offset. So I can go ahead and bring up my bar here, so I can really size that out to whatever I feel is perfect. Now for me, I want to play around with my backgrounds a little bit more. I'm happy with that offset. Let's go ahead and hit apply. So now let's play around with a different background. We're going to go ahead and click on that. We're going to hit delete, and then let's go ahead and bring in another one. Let's do this one here just to see how it would pop off of this. We're going to size it all the way across. All right, just like that. And then to move this to the back, you're just simply going to click on those three dots, and you can say send backwards, and it's going to bring that to the front. So you guys can see that there. It makes it a little bit more fun. I like this. I think this is super duper cute. There was a lot more options with the pattern, so feel free to play around with that until you're 100% happy. So let's go ahead and roll with this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to hit share, and then we're going to hit download. So now we're going to go ahead and hit download again. Now it's sending it straight over to the computer, and we're going to get ready to print it. All right, so now that I've got it downloaded to my computer, I'm simply going to find my design. I'm going to drag and drop it into my Sawgrass Smart folder. So this is going to pop open that Sawgrass Print Manager for us, so we are ready to print. So I'm going to go ahead and change this over to my stainless steel tumblers, and then we are ready. So it's going to go ahead and set all of those things for us. We want to make sure and turn mirror on. Now, if you have whatever settings you've used last, so recently I used Caesar Easy Subli, so I had my mirror off, and then I also had it to those settings. But we want to make sure we have the mirror on, and I also want to go over here to layout, and I want to preserve layout from designer, because it's going to want to go ahead and change. Now obviously it's still going to print on an 8.5 by 11, so it's giving you these dimensions, but it's not going to change that size for us. It's going to keep it exactly how I want it. So let's go ahead and send it on over to the printer. All right, so now that we've got this printed out, so this is perfectly sized for us, I'm going to go ahead and double check everything, remove my lid here, and then we're just going to go ahead and check those settings and make sure it is good to go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and print it one more time. I'm off just a little bit here, so I would suggest inside of Canva going up. So I went up 1/4 inch. I would definitely go up the 1/2 inch. So I was just off by that 1/4 inch. So go up a 1/2 inch on your sizing. Now that I've printed it again, I'm going to go ahead and double check those settings one more time. All right, so I'm happy with that. I'm actually gonna have to take off just a little bitty bit. All right, so there we go. So it looks really good. So the next thing that you wanna do is, like I said, remove your lid, make sure that is off. You wanna go ahead and clean your tumbler, make sure it's nice and clean. Now I'm using a holographic, hopefully you guys can pick that up. I am using a holographic one. There's plain white ones, there's glitter ones, there's tons of options whenever it comes to these. There's even glow in the dark. So definitely make sure you check out your options. And then we're just gonna go ahead and take our paper trimmer. So I really find it very crucial to own a paper trimmer. I love a paper trimmer. I mean, you don't have to. I say crucial like it's dangerous, but I do love using a paper trimmer because you're going to get those precise lines compared to a pair of scissors. So if you're like me and you've got a little bit of a shake, definitely invest into a paper trimmer when it comes to your sublimation game, if you will. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and trim off. So you want to get right on that line. Now, like I said, I'll have to come back and trim just a little bit, but I'll do that here in a bit. So for now, I'm just going to trim off all of that white space. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and test this again now that I've got everything trimmed down, just to figure out about how much I want to take off. I'm thinking about 1/4 inch. I know it's so funny because I say to size it up 1/4 inch and then it still ends up being too big. So it's just kind of one of those things that you have to play around with. Now keep in mind, these are seamless patterns. So if you do size it out correctly inside of Canva, you're gonna be able to get that perfect seam. All right, so let's go ahead and test it again. All right, so I think I'm happy with that, so we're gonna get ready to tape. Now, whenever it comes to getting that perfect seam, I also like to really get those, our edge really tight. So I don't really like a whole lot of overlapping. There is a little bit here, but we're gonna roll with it. But I really do like to just kind of butt those up as close as I can. So the next thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our tape dispenser here. I found this guy on Amazon. I get questions on it all the time. It's really cool because you twist this dial and it already makes the cuts for you. So you're just ready to go. So we've already got our tumbler press. So before you get started, first, before you turn it on, put your tumbler in there and adjust your pressure. That way it's not hot. And then once you have your pressure down, you're gonna go ahead and turn it on, and you're gonna see, I'm gonna show you what the perfect pressure is, because you shouldn't have to force that closed. So you wanna have this 365 for 70 seconds. Now all tumbler presses are not created equal, so you may have to play around with your time and temp, but that's what works for me. Now I do have the one I'm using linked down below for you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready here. I'm just gonna go ahead and center this guy up, and then we're gonna go ahead and tape it down. So that when it comes to taping this down, you just wanna make sure that you get nice and tight. You have no gaps. Now what I like to do is I like to take a piece of tape here on one side and then pull tight to close it on the other side. So you see I get one side down and then I can actually hold it and pull. So now I can just go back to my remaining pieces and tape them down. All right, so once you have something like this, I always like to turn my tape over to the side, doesn't matter which way, for my first press. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it all the way in here. And so when you close it, you should be able to close it just like that. There should be no force. And what I do when I'm testing before it's hot and turned on, I'll try to pull on it. If I can't pull it out, then it's good to go. So like I said, you should not have to force that down. So we're gonna speed this up and let it go for that 70 seconds, and then we'll flip it around. All right, so now what we're gonna do, you're gonna take your heat gloves, it's gonna beep at us, we're gonna open it, and very carefully, we're gonna rotate it around to where it's gonna press the entire thing. So it's very important to rotate. If you're doing a full wrap, if you just have one solid design, you can turn it upside down to where it's gonna get it the first time. So like I said, if you're doing a full wrap though, you definitely wanna rotate that and have yourself some heat gloves. Also, if you think you're going crazy because some extra light was added in after a while I was waiting for my printer to load up, I added another light, so you're not crazy. Now, while we're getting down to our last few seconds, you wanna have yourself something that's heat resistant, whether it's like a hot plate that you have in your kitchen or a towel, so you can put it on your work surface. All right, so here we go. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this guy out of here. All right, so we'll just kind of place it down here on our pad. Now, when it comes to these tumblers, highly recommend you definitely need gloves. You cannot do this without your gloves. And so you wanna go ahead, I like to peel mine hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my tape off here very carefully. All right, so we're ready for the big reveal. So we're gonna go ahead and take it and peel. And look at how gorgeous this is. I love how this came out so stinking cute. So I do think you guys can see that holographic there if I go real slow. So cool. But once again, there is the white ones, there's the glitter ones. Now you guys can see my seam because this is a seamless pattern and I ended up having to trim it down after the fact. But if you didn't have to and you really size that out, you're gonna get that perfect seam. Now, hopefully you guys can see. I don't think you guys can really see on here. I don't like to overlap because if you do, you'll have a real light line from that, but I wanted to show you guys that today. But there we have it. I'm so excited with the way that this one came out. Those colors are so good together. Such a good combo. So always feel free to play around. We have tons of different backgrounds and patterns. They're not just for, you know, scrapbook pages or anything like that. You can definitely use those with your sublimation, especially doing something like these tumbler full wraps or mugs and things like that. So I'm really excited with the way that this came out, like I said. So all you gotta do is set it aside, let it cool. These do cool a whole lot faster than ceramic mugs. So you just simply need to set it aside, let it finish cooling, and then we're gonna be able to pop on our lid. All right, so to wrap this up, we're just gonna pop on our lid. You can leave it like this. Some of them, like this one, did come with a straw, and then you would have that just like that. And then they do come with these little foam, not double-sided, it has adhesive on one side that you can stick on the bottom. I never use these. I always toss them in the trash, but you can save them for other crafty projects as well. But just like that, it is done, and I love it. It is so stinking cute. So I hope you guys have learned something new from this or found some inspiration along the way. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.